Energy. Okay. In this video, I'll be breaking down the Myers-Briggs personality types of Grunkle Stan. Pause. This next character is a big spoiler warning for the show, so definitely watch the show and come back to this video. And his brother, Stanford Pines from Gravity Falls. These videos are for artists who are looking for inspiration and accountability, people who are interested in how films are made, and anyone looking for a good story. For this video, I'm gonna change it up a little bit and try to make it more like a game, where I'm gonna have you try to guess the personality types based off of the evidence that I found while watching the show. So put your thinking caps on and let's start the breakdown. Okay, let's start with Grunkle Stan. The first trait we're gonna look at is E and I. Basically, where he gets his energy from. Does he get his energy from being surrounded by people, or does he get his energy from being alone, working on his own personal projects, or with just a singular close friend? So I'm gonna play some clips of the movie, so you can try to deduce. Deduce? Hey Google, what does deduce mean?
Deduce is used as a verb to mean arrive at a fact or a conclusion by reasoning. Draw as a logical conclusion. Do you want to hear a few synonyms for deduce?
No, I'm good. So you can deduce what you think the answer is. And also, I would like to know how much of that trait you think they are. Let's check out these clips.
Luckily, I struck another kind of goal. In sales! Apparently the cheap dye I used to color them only made stains worse. Customers weren't crazy about that. Luckily, they were chasing me with Stanco brand pitchforks. Suckers! Yes, I do give tours. 10? No. 15 bucks a person. That brought up folks to a world of enchantment or whatever. They never made it out alive. Right?
Oh, that's funny.
And so I came up with a plan. People were actually buying what I was selling. Mr. Mystery.
There's a burning question which my heart longs to ask of you.
Oh, Reginald.
Hey! Wanna hear a joke? Here goes. My ex-wife still misses me, but her aim is getting better. Her aim is getting better. You see, it's funny because marriage is terrible. What?
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll!
E. He is 70% extroverted. The reason why I decided he is a 70% extrovert is because he's now an older man. Once people age, they get a little bit more introverted. So he may have been more of an 80% extrovert in his youth. In those clips, it shows his first job out of high school. He tries to become a treasure hunter, but when he realized that that wasn't bringing in any money, his second job that he chose to do was a salesman, which has to do with trying to sell products to a lot of people. That would be a job that an extrovert would be attracted to. Another clip is where he's at the shack and he's running out of money, and he realizes that the people in the town are interested in what goes on inside the shack. So he turns it into a tourist trap. That is another job that would entail interacting with people on a daily basis. And that last clip I showed you, the kids left to do their own thing, and he was lonely. So he found himself trying to hang out with a random couple. Let's move on to his next trait, which is S or N. This is how he deals with information. Let's watch the clips.
You're lucky you weren't part of the last tour group. They never made it out alive.
Drum roll, please.
And he is 80% intuitive. The reason why I believe those clips show that he's intuitive is because he's showing the group of people the mystery shack for the first time, which is empty. It has nothing but science gear in it. When he sees that they're not impressed, he just looks around him and quickly throws together a tourist attraction. And that is him using his intuition. The second clip I showed, he was throwing together random taxidermy parts to create a fictional creature, like a unicorn. He's taking things that are usually not connected at all and then bringing them together to create something new. And that is something an intuitive person would do. Let's move on to the next trait, which is T versus F. This is how he makes decisions. Let's watch.
Now that we're alone, Rosanna, There's a burning question which my heart longs to ask of you.
Oh, Reginald.
Hey! Wanna hear a joke? Here goes. My ex-wife still misses me, but her aim is getting better. Her aim is getting better. You see, it's funny because marriage is terrible. What?
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll!
Grunkle Stan is a T, and I have him as 90% T. In my previous video, I mentioned that T-type personalities are all about results, and something you may see in a T-type personality that is extremely T, like 90%, is sometimes they are a little oblivious to people's emotions or the situation. So the result he was looking for in that clip was to be able to hang out with people because he's extroverted. Let's move on to his last trait, P versus J. This is how he interacts with the outside world. Let's watch the clips.
Step right up, folks, to a world of enchantment or whatever. Behold, the, nerdy science box. Meanwhile, your old Uncle Stan was doing great. I'd come up with a sophisticated new business strategy. Come on, Owl. For once in my life, people were actually buying what I was selling.
Drum roll, please.
80% perceiving. Did you get it right, or did you get it wrong? Or did I get it wrong? I would like to know, leave a comment. Perceivers are very random and spontaneous, which also sometimes makes them a little messy and seem unorganized because they're all over the place. So in these clips, you see him in his car while he's traveling the country, and his car is just a mess. His livelihood just piled up around him. And when he brings the visitors into the shack, you can see that it's a total mess. But that last clip shows the shack very clean and presentable. But if you notice, there's still a couple of pages lying on the floor. So I don't think he's 100% perceiving because he cleans up the shack for his guests. But that's because he knows that it's good for business. Let's move on to his brother, Stanford Pines. E or I, where he gets his energy from.
At a place like that, I had to work twice as hard. Luckily, that's what I do best. I went from undergrad to PhD 3 years ahead of schedule. Wrote a thesis that was nationally ranked.
Don't forget to leave our names so they know who owns the place. Pines! 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 Pines!
But I couldn't make it alone. I decided to call up my old college buddy. Many long nights were spent perfecting the machine.
I quit.
Fine, I'll do it without you. I don't need you. I don't need anyone.
Drum roll!
80% introverted. The clips that I showed him very happily studying for hours by himself, hanging out with his brother one-on-one, and also hanging out with an old friend of his, working on a project together. And at the very end, when his friend leaves and says something that I feel upset introverts say often.
Fine, I'll do it without you. I don't need you. I don't need anyone.
Which clearly he doesn't believe. Let's move on to his next trait, which is S or N. This is how he deals with information. Let's watch.
There were anomalies everywhere, and the more I looked, the more I saw. Fascinating. What did you say your name was?
Schmebulok Senior.
Drum roll, please.
And 80% N. In those clips, you saw Stanford be like, bippity 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 boo. In those clips, you saw Stanford very open to data and doing research and looking all over the place for data. And I feel that that's intuitive because he thinks outside the box and finds data in places where people wouldn't normally look. And I'm gonna actually change my mind on this. I still feel he's a little bit sensing. So let's lower that to 70% intuitive. Let's move on to his next trait, T or F. This is how they make decisions and interact with other people.
What is it? Is it working? What did you see?
Maybe there's a silver lining. Huh? Treasure hunting?
Are you kidding me? Why would I want to do anything with the person who sabotaged my entire future?
Drum roll!
75% thinking. So in these clips, I think it clearly shows that he's a thinker, because thinkers are very much focused on results. And in that first clip, it showed his friend falling, hitting the ground after this experiment. What is the first thing he says? Does he say, "Oh my gosh, are you okay? Are you injured?" Or "I'm sorry you got hurt"? No, he's still thinking about results. He's still thinking about, did it work? What happened? What did you see? Which I would say is a bit of a character flaw, because even thinking people, when someone gets harmed, will still check if they were injured before asking the result of the situation. And the rest of the clips show the brothers in conflict. And they're in conflict because they both are T's and they both want results, but they have different plans. So when the results contradict each other, they're very outspoken about their annoyances, not worrying about hurting each other's feelings because they're so focused on results. Where an F personality type would maybe hold back something that they want to say because they don't want to hurt someone's feelings, which is also a character flaw. So let's move on to his last trait, which is P or J. And this is how he interacts with the world outside himself. Let's watch.
In a place like that, I had to work twice as hard. Luckily, that's what I do best. I went from undergrad to PhD 3 years ahead of schedule, wrote a thesis that was nationally ranked, and was awarded an enormous grant for my own scientific research. But what to study? And the more I looked, the more I saw. Fascinating. What did you say your name was?
Schmebulok Senior.
It was finally a place where I felt at home. I realized the only way to understand Gravity Falls would be to build a gateway, a portal to the source of its weirdness. But I couldn't make it alone.
Drumroll, please.
90% judging. Did you get it right? Or did you get it wrong? Or did I get it wrong? Leave a comment, I'd like to know. And I use the same clips from last time, because a good story can show multiple personality traits at once. For instance, you can see his N trait, because he's doing all this out-of-the-box thinking and searching for data, and then it shows his J trait by him writing it down and making schedules and plans and systems and strategies. So now let's talk about how these two characters interacted with each other within the story. Gravity Falls is a great show, because they keep their characters so consistent with their personalities and characters. And these two characters have a wonderful bromance that turns into a frenemy relationship. And it's great that they show them as kids and show their parents. For instance, this clip.
Dad was a strict man, tough as a cinder block and not easily impressed.
I'm not impressed.
Mom was a pathological liar, which served her well as a phone psychic.
That'll be 99 cents an hour. No, you're overpriced.
So you can see Grunkle Stan is a good person, but a little toxic. I would call him an anti-hero, someone that would do the wrong thing for what they feel is the right reason. For instance, conning people so he can continue to try to get his brother back. Layers. In that clip, you see that he was raised by a father who was never impressed, and you can see both characters, since they were raised in that same atmosphere, they're both very driven. They wanted to get the acceptance that they never had. Stanford is obsessed with money because his dad chided him. Hey Google.
I can't reach the internet right now. Check your modem or router connection and try again.
Okay, because his dad chewed him out because he thought his brother was gonna make all this money. So that planted the seed for him to be obsessed with money all the time. And the only positive thing that he said to Stanford is that I'm impressed by his intellect. And that's why he's so obsessed with achieving amazing things. But he's also very driven because of his 6 fingers, which came from his insecurity of being teased. So these two characters' relationship is a great way to show people with similar personalities, because they are very similar. Let's see. They're both intuitive and they're both thinkers. So that's 2 traits in common. So they should probably get along half the time, which they did when they were kids, but when they got older and all of the family trauma kind of drove them apart. So these are great things to think about if you're a writer or an animator or an actor. What are their personalities? Who are their parents? How did their parents treat them? What are their insecurities? What are their dreams? So what are you thinking about when you're animating? If you're animating a character right now, what personality type do you think they have? How are you going to show it? In their gestures, in their posture, in the timing of how they move, in their poses, how they interact with another character? And if you're animating 2 characters, how are you contrasting them? Leave a comment, I'm curious. That'll be it for this character breakdown. What do you guys think about the structure of this video? Is it better than how I was doing it before? Please leave a comment. Leave a comment, bruh. Please leave a comment. Please leave a comment. I would like to improve. Thanks for watching. Bye. Okay. Please leave a comment. Please leave a comment. Why am I saying that like a million times? Let's see. In next week's animation vlog, I'll be animating the face and refining my blocking for shot 3. In my last video, we were at 44 subscribers, and I said we were trying to get to 50. Well, we made it to 71 subscribers, so thank you so much. I really appreciate you subscribing. That's only 29 away from 100. It would be absolutely amazing if we could get there. I've noticed some people being advocates for my channel and asking people to subscribe. I didn't expect that, and I really appreciate it. If you have a friend that's artistic or a film geek, please share my video with them. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.